In this video, I'm going to talk about navigation in Illustrator documents, which is very important because you do this all the time. So mainly zooming in and out and panning around within documents. The shortcut to zoom in is Command or Control plus, and the shortcut to zoom out is Command or Control minus. As you can see, this will zoom in directly to the center of your screen. If you want to zoom to a different area, I would suggest to use the zoom tool. Now, this can be also selected from the toolbar or by pressing Z on the keyboard. Once the zoom tool is selected, you will be able to zoom in two different ways. If you have a faster computer and a good graphic processor, you will be able to use the animated zoom, which means you can just click and drag to the right to zoom in and drag to the left to zoom out. Now this tool actually zooms to wherever you click. So it tries to center to that area. The way you can check whether this is available or not is by coming up to this little rocket icon, which represents the GPU performance, whether it's enabled or not. If I click on it, I can see that it's currently on and the animated zoom is available as well. Now if I turn that off and I click OK, instead of dragging with the zoom tool, I can click and drag to highlight an area, and when I let go, it will zoom exactly onto that area. In these cases, if you want to zoom out with this tool, you will have to hold down the Alt key or Option key, and that way you can click and zoom out. I like to keep the animated zoom on because it is more similar to how Photoshop would also work, but it really depends whether your graphic card is strong enough for having the GPU performance available. This feature is only available in the Creative Cloud version of Illustrator. There is another important shortcut that you should use, and that is Command or Control 0, which will quickly zoom out and show you the currently selected artboard. But once I click on another artboard with my selection tool, the black arrow tool, now if I press Command 0, it will fit that to my screen. If I want to see all my artboards at the same time, I can use Command Option 0 or Control Alt 0 on PC. And don't forget, you can also use your artboards panel and double click on an artboard's name to quickly fit that to your screen. Another unique thing you can do in Illustrator is to save views. So if I, for example, want to zoom closer to this globe here, I just do that. And let's say I want to save this as a view. I can go up to the View menu, and all the way at the bottom I can find the New View option. Once I click on that, I can give this a name, and I'm just going to call it Globe. Once that's saved, that means I can very quickly come back to this part of the document anytime I wish. And to test this out, I'm going to move away from this artboard. So I use the artboards panel and double click on another one. Now if I want to quickly go back not only to the first artboard but also specifically to the globe within it, I can just go up to the View menu, and here at the bottom I will find all the saved views. So I can just click on that, and as you can see, it immediately took us back to the part which we saved. If you use views often, it's also good to remember that you can edit your previously saved views. So if you choose this option here, you can find all of them, you can rename them or delete them. Another important shortcut, of course, is the space bar. Whenever you hold that down, that will give you the hand tool temporarily, which can be used to pan around within your document. Instead of using the scrolls at the bottom and on the right, this is much faster and easier. Just remember, the spacebar held down will give you panning option or the hand tool. Another important thing to learn is how to navigate between multiple documents. You see, currently I have 3 documents open. I have this artboards document, I have this crests document, and the original design. These are all 3 separate files, and each of them has multiple artboards. Now if I want to move elements from a document into another one, the easiest way to do that is to split my screen and see multiple documents at the same time. So if I come up to the Window menu, here I will find Arrange, and I can choose Tile. Another way to get to this option is to come to this icon up here, and I can even pick how I want to tile my screen area. So let's just pick something a little bit more exciting, like this one here, where I will have the main first document on the left side and the other two split on the right side. If I want them evenly split my screen, I can just pick this one, for example, which will tie them up all vertically. And you can see now I have 3 documents open at the same time, and I can easily also move elements from one into another one. To do that, all I need to do is to select an item and simply drag and drop it into another document. That won't lose the detail in the previous artboard, it just simply duplicates it and places it into the other document, as you can see. If you want to go back to the original view and see only one specific document, you can again go up to this drop down and choose the first icon, which is called Consolidate All, back to tabs. And last but not least, there is a very important view option, which is called Outline. This is the first option here in the view menu, which can show you your design without all the colors and fills that you have in it, simplifying it to just simple outlines. So that's why it's called Outline mode. And this can be a great technique to reveal the actual elements used in a design. We will use this quite often, and that's why there is also a shortcut worth remembering to switch between normal view and outline view. So that's Control or Command Y. If you do that, it just toggles between these two views, and you can also see here in the document tab that when I do that, it tells me when I'm in outline mode, if it wasn't obvious, and then you can also go back to the normal view, which it will call GPU preview. Now, since Creative Cloud, we can also switch between CPU preview and GPU, so whether the processor generates the view or the graphic card. And there's another shortcut for that as well, which is Command or Control E. As you can see, you can also switch between those two. If your graphic card can render the images well and it's not too slow, I would recommend to use that, but there's not much difference if your processor is going to generate the images. This setting is mainly there to improve the performance of Illustrator, depending on how strong your graphic card is. But that is all I wanted to show you about navigation. And now it's time to discuss in our next video what is the main difference between working with vectors and pixels.